On this week's episode, we look back at our past year.
And we look forward to what's ahead in 2021, so stick around and Happy New Year! Hi, and welcome to Rare with Flair,
the podcast where two 20-somethings with the same rare disease are out here living our best lives. I'm your host, Casey.
And I'm your host, Cassandra. So we hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. We're recording this on the 23rd, so it hasn't been Christmas for us yet, just like every other episode we do around a holiday. But we hope that if you celebrated Christmas, it was wonderful.
Yes.
And are looking forward to the new year.
Yes, definitely. And, you know, it's the end of the year now, though, even though we haven't had Christmas yet. And we wanted to do kind of an episode, like a year in review, talking about our past year, looking forward to next year and what the possibilities are. So that's what this episode is going to be.
Who doesn't love a year in review, though? Everyone always looks forward to, like, the Google search in review and, like, all of these things. Although YouTube didn't do one this year, which is kind of a bummer.
Oh, that's sad. I know. Yeah. The YouTube Rewind.
Yeah, I know, right? They were like, oh, but this year was sad.
Yeah. For some reason, at first I thought you meant Google, and I was like, Google does a year in review, but you definitely said YouTube, and I was
they do. No, they do. Like Google year in searches. Yeah. I'll link it in the show notes, the Google year in searches. It's kind of fun. They did a really good job with it this year. Like a lot of people asking questions about like the pandemic, and you can see like people kind of banding together. It was very, like, inspirational.
Ooh, you know what's even more important, though? Which I do want to check that out.
What?
So you do need to link that. But Spotify Wrapped is, like...
Yes!
The most important.
Spotify Wrapped.
If they had chosen to back out this year, I would have been heartbroken. That is, like, my tradition of life is Spotify Wrapped every year.
I know. We want to give everyone who had Rare with Flair come up on their Spotify Wrapped this year a big air hug.
Yes, including myself. And Cassandra was like, I don't listen. You were like, I don't listen to our episodes. I'm not a narcissist. You didn't say that.
I don't. So for those people that are like, wait, what? No, we listen to them before we put them out so that we can, Casey edits it and then I hear it so I can write the notes. But, like, I don't listen to it once it's out in the world. I already heard it.
Listen, I had it on mine, but that's because I listened to all of my podcasts on Apple Podcasts, so it was, like, the only thing I'd listened to on Spotify. And when I do listen to it, it's just, like, to make sure it's working, which I don't even do every time. But anyways, that's my long explanation. I'm not a narcissist. I don't sit and listen to the episode. I listen to it enough while I'm editing, okay? I don't need to hear it when it comes out, but...
No one loves hearing themselves talk.
At the fast speed, though. Like, when you speed it up, it is really fun. It's really fun. Our theme song is a bop.
It's a bop! It's such a bop! Oh my gosh.
It is.
We wanted to do, like, kind of two different ideas of, like, looking back and then looking forward. So we wanted to start with looking back, and obviously this year has been extraordinary. All the words that we're like exhausted of hearing, unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
Really can't stand that word. Like,
no,
I can't stand that. But you know, we wanted to take the time, and maybe in the future this could be a little time capsule. I don't know. We can go back and hear it and be like, oh yeah, remember that? That was wild.
Yeah, I can't wait a year from now to be able to listen to this episode because I can tell you for sure at the beginning of 2020, I had no idea my life would be where it is now. So it'll be interesting a year from now if we'll say the same thing. Like, wow, I can't believe all of this has happened.
Right.
We'll see.
Which is just the perfect segue because we wanted to talk about how, like, Casey had this idea while we planned our episode of, like, we wanted to sort of talk about, like, where were we, like, in January and February. Like, we all thought that the year was going to shape out totally differently. So what were you doing in January and February?
I was living a totally different life than I am now. I was working at a theater and I was having a lot of fun. We we were touring a show around to different schools, and I also taught at 4 different schools, theater. And so I was like, I was constantly surrounded by other human beings. I was constantly like in different public schools, and this was all this year, which is wild. I was also seeing a lot of theater. I was going to like 2 shows a weekend because when you're really involved in your community theater, you know everybody, so you always want to support all your friends. So I would have a friend in a show like every weekend. And actually, I seriously, looking back, I'm like, that was God's way of like, I was almost stressed at how many shows I was seeing because I wanted to support all my friends. But I was like, that was his way of like allowing me to see 1,000 shows at the beginning of the year and preparing me for theater being gone forever. So that's where I was. I really didn't know what I really wanted for the year. Like I wanted to make more career goals and plans, but I just didn't know what I was doing. And I felt really kind of in a, what would you call it? Not a circle, but just in a loop. Yeah, a loop.
A rut?
Yeah. Like I was kind of like going to work, coming home, you know, like not doing as much as I would have liked to be. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, so that was me. And we were also, I'll let you talk about this too, but we were gearing up for our conference in March as well at this time of year. So we'll get into that when we get into March. But anyway, what were you doing at the beginning of this year?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I just feel like my goals were very different in January, February. I was progressing in my career. I work like in an office. I'm a software engineer, for those who don't know. But you know, I would go into work almost every day. I actually did work from home a good bit before the pandemic, so it wasn't something that was new to me entirely. But yeah, I would go to work. I'd come back on the weekends. I'd go out with my friends. Like I would sometimes like spend time in my apartment. I do like to spend time, even before the pandemic, I like to spend time by myself. And so really what was like on the horizon for me in early March, which ended up falling through, was I had this business opportunity that also aligned with like something I'm really, really passionate about, and I wanted to go to this conference since I learned about it in college. It's for digital accessibility. It's at CSUN, so the California, Cal State Northridge. That's the university. I'm not from California. Sorry. So I was going to go to the CSUN conference for digital accessibility, and it was like a week-long thing, and like my supervisors were like, you should go to this, and I was like, oh my god, dream come true. And I didn't get to go, and it was like kind of a bummer, but like I was thinking that because of that, and because they were kind of encouraging me to do that, I was going to be able to progress in that way in my career. And I'll talk about it later, but like it did end up working, but not the way I thought. So
wow.
Yeah,
it's wild how many things we had planned. I had a trip. My first trip to Disneyland this year was planned, and yeah, it's like, you know, at the time though, I was kind of like, I can't be that upset because there are more important things going on, but it's still upsetting.
Right. I had a few trips planned too this year, like one with, I was gonna visit a friend, and then I was gonna like go to Spain with my parents in June, which did not happen.
Yeah.
And
that would have been amazing.
I think there was something else we were going to do. Yeah, we wanted to go back to Disney in October, but we also didn't do that. So.
Yeah. One other thing I just thought of randomly that I think is funny is at the very beginning of this year, I decided to do a no-buy year where I was not going to buy anything that wasn't a necessity, which is really hard for me. I'm a shopaholic, which is why I was doing it. But the funniest part of it all, Cassandra, is at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm not going to buy anything like clothes or anything like that. But my rule was I can do experiences. So I was like, okay, I'll just fill the void of shopping with a bunch of experiences, trips and movies and restaurants. And that's what was so funny is like, I had no idea that I would be ripped of all of my experiences this year. I had no idea.
I know. There's so many things that we miss, obviously, like everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
But So the one thing that we did miss was the conference.
Yeah, I was just about to say, in March, we were supposed to go to a conference. This was right as the pandemic was starting to rear its ugly head. And at this point in time, it was that weird point in time where everything switched within like a week. At this point, nobody had really canceled anything yet. So I thought we were in the clear for a while. Like, weren't you thinking that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I did. So like my conference at in California was gonna be the week leading up to the conference. And so it was the week prior, and I was pretty determined to go. I was like, yeah, I'll be fine, I'll be safe, I'll wear a mask and everything. But I don't remember. I think it was like, the Thursday before I officially canceled it. Mm-hmm. And then the conference got canceled like, I don't know, the next day or a few days later. It was like really close together, and I was like, oh, well, I don't think this is gonna go well.
Yeah, and like I wasn't that surprised because our entire group of people are very vulnerable people. And so I was like, oh, I understand why we have to cancel. But at that point, I was still thinking the rest of the world was gonna go on, and we had just canceled because we were vulnerable. Turns out the week that conference was supposed to have happened is when Disney World and Broadway and everything else shut down completely. And it was just kind of, it was wild because those places never shut down. So we're glad that it got canceled. We think they made the right choice, obviously. But in the moment, it was very sad. And we don't want to make this episode all doom and gloom. There are good things that happened this year. But this was at the point where our lives were turned upside down. So that's why we're going through the year. And this was the point where, everything changed.
I think this is the point where we also have to out ourselves because, like, Casey and I have this thing with dates. That we remember dates like extremely well.
Yes.
And so I remember like the last day I went to work was March 12th. Like that day, I just remember. And I remember because like I was sitting there and most people weren't around anyway. Like it was pretty empty, and a coworker that I was kind of friends with, like he came up to me and I was like nervous. I was like, I feel like I shouldn't be here. Because if there were people that were probably less vulnerable than I was at home and I was still like going into work, I was like, you know what? And my friend was like, you can go home, like, because we have again, working in software, like we had the flexibility of working from home. He's like, no one's like making you stay.
Yeah.
So, but then, I went home at midday, and then, like, I never went back.
That's how I was. I didn't know my last day was going to be my last day. And, in fact, I remember on my last day, I was teaching my 7th graders, and one of my 7th graders had just gotten a really cool opportunity, like a music camp he was going to start doing, like, after school. And one of the adults there was like, oh, that might be canceled because of COVID. And I remember thinking, surely it won't. Like, I remember thinking that. I was like, no. And so, everything switched very suddenly, as everyone listening to this knows, of course. So this brings us into kind of, where are we? April,
the heavy
May.
quarantine
time.
Right.
What were you doing? Tell me about your quarantine time. What the heck was Cassandra up to?
I was like kind of struggling emotionally. Like it was difficult. Those times are already like kind of triggering for me based on like what I have been through. And if you need context for that, you can check out like our, I don't know what number that was, 6 episode about chronic illness.
I wanted to say 6.
Yeah. So it's like the springtime is kind of a little bit negative to me. So already, and then it was just like independence is something that like I have always like really loved and valued, and having that taken from me for good reason was like really difficult, and it felt like I was almost back there, and it was really sad to me. But otherwise though, I did try a bunch of different stuff. I didn't bake sourdough bread, but I did watch a lot of baking shows, and I tried to do a lot of new stuff, and it was fun. Casey and I both tried to learn to embroider, and we didn't do half bad.
We weren't half bad. It was a fun, weird time that we were both embroidering at the same time.
I think the other thing that was really special is that my mom really loves planning stuff, and so since we couldn't plan to go on like trips or anything, we sort of started this thing where every holiday we would have parties on our back deck, and parties being used loosely in the sense of like it was me and my mom and dad. But we had like dollar store decorations, and we made like a lot of food, and another thing I dabbled in was like mixology and like trying to make like crafty cocktails, so I'd make like the crafty cocktail, and we'd have like a nice time sitting on our deck, and it was lovely.
I love that. Yeah, I think at the very beginning my mental health was kind of down the toilet too, because I have a lot of anxiety, and I've talked about this in episode 6. I have a lot of anxiety specifically surrounding my health and my health being unpredictable, so of course when a virus comes out of nowhere, I'm like, oh my gosh. But things did get better, and actually my mom moved in with me for like 3 months because my dad, this was at the beginning when we didn't know anything about the virus. My dad is an essential worker, and my mom is very vulnerable for a lot of different reasons I won't get into, but she moved in with me, and we were like stuck in the house together. And it's wild that we're like best friends anyway, as you guys know from our last episodes, but being stuck in the house with someone that long, and I was out of a job too at this point, so literally we weren't doing anything. And it's really beautiful memories though. Like we binge watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and we baked a lot, and we cooked a lot of healthy food, and we drove around, not even going anywhere, we just drove around in the car, and we did that look for teddy bears thing, which I'm blind, but she looked for the bears. And no, it was like looking back, it was like the weirdest time ever. It kind of feels like, how when you're in school and you get like a snow day and you're like at home all day and don't know what to do, like it felt like, and like you have to hunker down if you're like snowed in or something like that. It kind of felt like that, but like a really long time, a really extended time. And I was like coloring, and I was doing random stuff. I watched Tiger King. I regret it. I made whipped coffee. I don't regret that. That was pretty good. But yeah,
whipped coffee is so good, and I think it's delicious.
It was a little like rough on my tummy, but
oh yeah, it's actually quite strong. You don't think it will be because it looks so pretty and dainty, but it's actually like really intense.
We also made gift bags for everyone and left them at their door, like all of our friends.
Oh, that's so cute. My mom and I really wanted to support like the local coffee shop, so we were doing a lot of like takeout orders, like maybe once or twice a week we'd like pick up coffee from a local cafe that we just like really wanted to stay open. So
yeah.
But yeah, what about the summer?
Yeah, so about the summer, like this was when I personally feel like I kind of got my life back together in the summer. Because those few months in the spring, I was sitting around not really doing anything, and I was like, I need to get a job and a schedule and things. So for me in the summer, I started doing a lot. I'm studying to become a Braille transcriber. I started that in the summer. I finally got a job in the summer. And my mom moved out, so I just started having my own schedule, and so I was working from home and doing a lot of stuff like that. And then something really exciting happened in the summer, but I want to hear about your summer first, and then we can talk about the really exciting thing that happened in the summer.
Oh, yes. So yeah, I think that the summer was nice because, I wouldn't consider myself one of those people that like require sunshine. But it was nice to at least be able to sit outside.
100%.
I never appreciated sitting outside as much as I did during the summer months.
Oh, same.
I never much cared for it, and it was at that point that I regretted not getting an apartment with a balcony because I wish, but at the time I didn't value sitting outside as much as I do now. So
what a good point. I agree.
But that was really nice. My birthday is in the summer, and so it was actually like for a somewhat uneventful year. Like I wasn't like, I don't know, after you turn 21, every other birthday is like pretty low key. But like, yeah, I turned 23, very unusual age, but it was really nice because it was like the first time I had actually gone in a place. Not a restaurant, don't go crazy here, but like my parents and I went to it's sort of like a local historical park and museum. And so we kind of walked around. We were very far from people, and we wore masks, and we had our hand sanitizer and all that. But it was also partly outside, so it was really nice to be able to, like, go on a walk. And
yes.
We got takeout from a nice restaurant, and then we had another of our little deck parties, and it was really lovely. Like, I really enjoyed it, honestly, probably more than I would have enjoyed most things. So that was really nice. And it was around maybe April, actually, that I was with my parents. I had gone home in March, and then I stayed with them for probably a solid month. But I kind of needed my own space, so we decided to kind of do this thing where I would alternate weeks of being in my apartment and being, like, with my mom and dad. And since then, that's what we've been doing. Pretty much every other week, I'm in one place, so I'm with my parents now for the holidays. But
you would have been really lonely all alone if that hadn't been the case, I think, you know?
Right, but I think I also would have, like, lost my mind if I was, like, quarantined with people all the time. So, like, I need a little bit of both.
That's so true. And I also went my first place in the summer. I went to a grocery store. That was, like, my first outing because, like, yeah, we didn't go anywhere for the first few months. And I also went to a cabin, like a remote cabin with my parents, and we just, like, didn't go anywhere. We just stayed at the cabin. It was so freaking peaceful. Like, I have, like, a nail picking problem. I, like, didn't even touch my fingers that whole, and I was like, I know, and that was when Folklore came out, which was also a huge thing for me this year, were Taylor's albums. Like, Taylor saved 2020 in my eyes. God bless the queen. And so that was, like, a big night for me. I'll never forget, like, laying in that cabin and someone texting me, like, her album's dropping tonight, and I listened to it all night. So that's another memory of 2020 I wanted to throw in there for future listeners. But yeah, so what you want to tell everyone what the exciting thing of the summer was, though?
Yes. So at the end of June, Casey and I, we had a text conversation that turned into a FaceTime call, that turned into many FaceTime calls and voice memos, and became the birth of Rare with Flair.
The birth of our baby! I had a baby this summer, everybody!
Where Mom?
We birthed a baby. Yeah, I was bummed out. I was having a bad day, and Cassandra knew about it. I won't go into detail, but Cassandra knew about it.
Yeah.
And I think the part of this was, like, you trying to make me feel better. Wait. We need to go in the past. Go in the past. Rewind. In May, I had Cassandra on my YouTube channel.
Yes, which you should see. I will link it in the show notes.
Yes. So I interviewed her on my YouTube channel, and everyone seemed to really like it. And we had a good, back and forth, like, and someone commented, I could listen to you two talk for an hour. And so, that was kind of the birth, but we were both kind of, like, not wanting to make a podcast at the same time, just because sometimes podcasts have, like, a negative connotation. Because everyone makes one nowadays, I think is why, and it's just like a millennial thing to do. But yeah, I was having a bummed out day. Cassandra texted me, hey, I think we should make a podcast. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything else with my life. I was bored, and it gave me something to do and something to look forward to, and it still does. But
yeah, I have to give credit where credit is due, and it was actually my mom who was really bugging me, and she was like, you and Casey should have a podcast. Like, you guys like need a podcast. So that's why I texted you. I kind of did it reluctantly. Shout out to my mom.
Reluctantly. It comes out. The truth comes out.
No, I did. Because podcasts have a negative connotation.
Right. No,
and because, like, earlier in 2020, like in January, a coworker told me that he was starting a podcast with his friend, and I made fun of him for it. And so I was like,
No, I know. I had thought about doing one with you before too, and I had the same doubts. So I understand. I'm just messing with you. I understand.
No, I know, but like it was so fun because in July was like we did all the prep work and we put together our website. Oh, the prep
work was fun. We're gonna do a whole episode about that one day, I think, because the prep work was like cray. Oh my goodness. And then we did a fun interview with Rick from Positive Exposure at the beginning, and it was
so much fun.
Really fun stuff, y'all. Really fun stuff.
Yeah, the podcast has been, we send each other sappy memos like this all the time, but it truly has been a bright spot this year.
Yeah.
And it's given us like so much, like it's been such a great outlet, I would say, at least for me.
I think literally once a week we send each other a text. I'm just so grateful that we did the podcast this year. I'm just so grateful that we've become better friends this year. Like, literally, every week. I swear to you. I'm not kidding. Like, if I compiled
this is no exaggeration.
No, but, like, it's been such a fun outlet. It's brought us closer as friends. And we were all, you know, I already considered Cassandra like a sister to me before this, but, like, so much close. I mean, we talk every single day, literally. And at first, it was more like business. Like, we were talking every day about the podcast. And then now we just talk.
But now we just talk.
Period. Like, I'm like, listen, you need to hear about my weird encounter with my neighbor or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's been amazing. Like, truly such a gift to have Casey, because she, like, we're going through kind of the same stuff.
Yeah.
In the sense of, like, we're not going anywhere, and I know people that are, and that's fine, but, like, we can't. And so to have someone that can, like, to be in that same position, it's just so, like, much more meaningful, you know?
That's so true. So true. I just love you. I just love you. I just love the pod.
I know. It's so lovely. Okay, so the fall, which you guys were around for, and you guys know how much we love the fall, so we won't bore you with the details of the fall, but we will, like, pop into the different aspects of the fall. Where are you going?
I'm getting a call on my iPad that you are talking to me on right now, so sorry about that. I was
click
listening.
Reject. They can wait.
They can wait.
I feel like personally, besides the podcast, like fall through about now, through the end of the year, I've personally been able to really dig into the things that make me happy. Mm-hmm. And I think that I want you to say what you were saying when we planned, because I love what you were saying about, like, instead of just waiting for things to change. What was it?
Yeah, I was saying, like, a lot of people, I think this is what I was saying, so if it was something else, correct me. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, you know, would say, I'm waiting for my life to start back. I'm waiting till we can go places again. I'm waiting to live again. And I felt like that for a while. And I'm like, no, like, this is my life now. Like, right now, this is my life, and I have to live it. I can't just sit around waiting for life to start back. I'm like, I need to start it now. And I did. I took it by the reins, and I was just sitting around for a few months in March and April, as we all were. But now I'm doing a lot of different things I'm proud of, and I'm not saying that in like I'm so amazing. If all you've been able to do this year is get out of bed, that's fine, because we're just trying to survive right now, okay? So I'm not saying this like, oh wow, well I did this and this, but I am happy that my life doesn't look anything like it looked in January, but I've made a different kind of life that I'm happy with. So I'm proud of that, and I am happy, even though I'm not traveling or going to theater or doing any of those things that I love. I'm finding other ways to be happy and do fun things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I totally agree, and I feel like around the fall is when I started doing just that, and you know, I've always been really passionate about music, and I've just really, like, since I think probably at least since our music episode or a little bit before that, I've done a lot of, like, live stream concerts. I've, like, been involved with, like, fan groups, and, like, it's just been, like, really great for me, because it really does just make me happy being really involved in, like, in music and music cultures, and I'm trying to get in, like, break into the local scene.
Yeah, you found such a, it's crazy that without being able to be social, you have found such a social circle through the music scene this year, which is really cool.
That's been so cool for me, and it's been, like, because when you're an adult, like, it's the whole idea of, like, how am I gonna make my friends, because you're not in school and you can't meet your friends at school.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're not going to meet them at work, you got to find, like, something that makes you happy where you're going to have friends with common interests.
Yes.
And, like, that for me, like, music and music scene for me has, like, been that, and I've been able to, like, have friends with common interests, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've seen that be such a good thing for you, and I've loved hearing about all the cool things you've gotten to do and interactions, even just from your home has been really cool. I love that. And
right.
Yeah, I'm still trucking along with Braille. I'm like not halfway through yet, but I'm still trying. And then I got another job at the end of the year that was like kind of surprising, but it was exciting. So I feel busy, which is good. Honestly, my dog saved me this year. I'm so glad I have a dog because
oh my God, same.
He kept me on a schedule, kept me getting up, he kept me going on walks and being active. Like, it's having a dog is difficult, like, because you do have to like look after another living being, but the fact that you do makes you more accountable and makes you more responsible. I would have just laid in bed all day if it weren't for him, I think. Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I don't think I would actually go outside if I didn't have to relieve Romana. And Romana being a guide dog is a little bit of a bummer just because, like, she, you know, we've barely gotten to work in harness. We do occasionally, but it's still, like, I've been trying to keep her engaged in other ways, and I know that, like, she's young enough and she's smart enough that when we go back to it, I can sort of retrain her and like, remind her, like, yeah, this is your job, and she loves working, so she really does miss it, but still, like, having her around.
I was worried.
Yeah, but, like, having her around and being able to, like, at least, like, having an excuse to go outside a few times a day is, like, yeah, okay. You know, I feel like a responsible person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like we've also done a lot of stuff this year we wouldn't have normally done. And I know we've both done, like, 5 virtual choirs, basically, this year, which was
oh my gosh, yes.
We've done a lot of virtual choirs together. And you can even post some of those in the show notes if any of them are, like, available. Maybe the You Will Be Found one is on YouTube, I think. But a lot of people we've talked to we wouldn't have normally talked to, or a lot of hobbies we've gotten. And another thing Cassandra and I say a lot is when normal life, quote unquote normal life, starts back again, we can choose what we want to allow back in it. And that's a big thing because our schedules, we don't have to constantly be go, 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 go. We've learned that. If the appointment has to wait, it has to wait. If the friend has to wait, they have to wait. But, you know, like, you can decide how your calendar looks, you know?
Right. And I've kind of appreciated the slowness. And
me too.
As well as, like, adding things in, we've also let go of some things that we probably didn't expect, but honestly has been, like, really good for us. And I think, like, I can speak for both of us when I say that we've been, like, fairly satisfied. I mean, it's still been difficult. Like, this period is just hard, and, like, there are just some days where I just feel demotivated at all. Yeah. But at the same time, like, it is, like, we have been trying to at least not go back, but, like, create a new life.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so true. And I think it will affect us moving forward, but not all in negative ways. I think a lot of things we've learned this year we'll take with us. A lot of hobbies we've picked up or recipes we've made or whatever it is we can take with us. So that's exciting.
Absolutely.
So do you want to look forward to
Looking
2021?
Forward.
Oh, goodness.
I know. So I've always hated, this is me being, like, opinionated as always. I've always hated when people, like, put high expectations on a year, because no year deserves that. Yeah. And everyone who, you know, no shame to anyone who was like, 2020 will be my year, you know. But at the same time, we have no idea. I think if this year has shown anyone anything, it's like, we have no idea what's gonna happen. So
we have no idea.
You know, I'm not going to say 2021 is going to be, like, my year. I'm not going to give it so much high expectations. But, you know, there are some small things that I kind of would love. Yeah. Like, just, I think, I don't know, are we doing resolutions or are we doing, like, things we're looking forward to? Or both?
Kind of both. Kind of both. Either way. Just things you want to do.
Yeah. So I think, like, honestly, I really just want to get in an Uber again. Because to me, so, like, I live in a part of the city that's, like, a bit more car dependent. And so getting in an Uber to me symbols, like, independence. Like, I can call an Uber, I can pay them, and they will take me somewhere I need to go without me having to, like, ask a friend or a parent or something. But, like, it's on my terms, and when I call the Uber, it shows up, and, like, honestly, I'd probably wear a mask and everything, but I would love to be in an Uber again. And even though, like, I have horror stories of, like, wild things that have happened to me in Ubers, and, like, really weird Uber drivers, I just, like, I want the experience of being able to go somewhere, anywhere, literally.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we can alternate. What's one thing you're excited about?
Well, I think this is a given, and this kind of encapsulates everything. But I think I will literally cry, like actual real tears. I get emotional talking about it. Like the moment I can get the vaccine, like I am so excited. It's going to be a momentous occasion. Like, it's going to be history making. It's going to be life changing. And people, I've talked to so many people who are like, vaccines aren't going to fix everything. But for me, it's the next step. It's the next step to a normal life again, and it's the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm so grateful for all the scientists who have worked on it, and I know some friends who have already gotten it, and it's just so exciting that it's coming for me soon. And that is my 2021 goal. I get that shot in my arm, and I'm ready to go. So can't wait.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't get that shot fast enough. Like, literally,
literally tomorrow. I would go tomorrow. But
as soon as I can possibly get it, I will, and I'm so excited.
Yes, and my little just PSA here is this is just my opinion. It's just my opinion. If you are nervous about the side effects of the vaccine, I think you should be more nervous about the long-term side effects of COVID-19. Thank you and good night. Welcome to my TED Talk. Goodbye. That's it. But that's how I feel.
We are very strong and firm believers in vaccines. Yes. So if you have other opinions, probably take them elsewhere.
That's fine. But I think I am an incredibly passionate person, and when I believe something, I believe it like very hard. And vaccines have always been in like my top 5, always before COVID-19, have always been in like my top 5 social issues that I get riled the freak up about. So
yeah,
I get riled.
In my opinion, it shouldn't be a social issue, but moving on.
But anyway, so that's what I get. But I'm very excited. Yay! I'm excited for my vaccine.
Oh my goodness. I know. I think I just want some small things next year. Like, I want to sit in a cafe without feeling like I'm going to, like, I need to leave, or without feeling super anxious about sitting in the cafe.
Yeah.
I just want to sit there, and I want to enjoy a cup of coffee, and I want to listen to some good music, and I just, that's what I want. That was something I loved doing, and I haven't gotten to do in a long time. I want to talk to the baristas. I want to make friends with them, because I also like to do that. And that's a goal I have.
Yep. I want to go to theater. Theater is one of the biggest parts of my whole life. Always has been. And I miss it dearly, and I am so devastated by all the actors and crew and tech and everyone that goes into theater who have been put out of work this year. And if you also feel that way, you can donate to the Actors Fund, and maybe we can link it in the show notes, because they're really struggling.
I will, yeah.
Like, these people don't have a job at all. It's not even like half capacity. It's like at all. Like, they don't have a job at all. So, I'm really excited for theaters. I have heard whispers that they will be back open in 2021 if everything goes according to plan, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. On that vein, like, oh my God. I already am, like, I'm a heightened version, I would say, of myself when I'm at a concert, and I don't know if I'll be able to go to a concert next year. I'm not sure if that's, like, a possibility, because there are so many people so close together for several hours.
Right.
And so I'm not sure. Right. I'm not going to put those expectations up there. However, if I could, it would be it would be really emotional for me. Like, I don't get that emotional about a lot of things, but usually at a concert, I probably will cry. So, like, if that is a possibility, oh my gosh, that would be incredible. But I'm willing to wait.
Oh, yeah.
I'm willing to wait because I want to be safe, but wow.
Well, right. I think if theaters and concerts and things open and start happening next year, we're not necessarily saying that we will be in attendance quite yet, even when they open. So I'm not sure if I will go to a theater in 2021. I just want them to be open in general because, but I feel the same way. And I don't want to just talk about the things that I miss and want to do because, like, let's pretend things don't get better for a while. We don't know what's going to happen. We do have a vaccine on the horizon, which is exciting. But if not, I have tried to make some, like, personal goals that I can control even if the vaccine doesn't happen. And so... just I have a little list on my phone of just random, the basic things of like try to eat healthy, try to do this, which I really do want to do. And I do like setting goals and I do like sticking to them and looking at them at the end of the year and saying, oh, you did do this. Good for you, So. Yeah,
no, last year I made a resolution to budget and I have budgeted every month all year. I meticulously track my expenses and I'm very proud of this fact that I've budgeted for a whole year. So like
that's amazing.
Honestly, it's like it's freed up so because I used to be like super nervous about like I wanted to spend money and I like to shop, but I also like always felt because I was still in that student mindset where I was like broke and I didn't have any money. So like I was always thinking like, oh, I don't know if I can afford that. But with a budget, I freed up myself to be able to be like, yeah, I can spend money on that this month,
Definitely. Yeah.
So that's been cool. But I think next year, I also started like working out on and off this year. It hasn't been like a consistent thing, but like probably since like January, February, I picked up a jump rope and that's been a lot of fun. But I think this year I've also really appreciated owning plants. I've never been a plant person. I would always overwater them or underwater them. But this year, my brother's fiance last year for Christmas got me this beautiful plant that she said was unkillable. So I tried. And it is quite long. And I'm so happy. And it, like, looking at it makes me smile. I think I'll have to put a before and after picture because I did take pictures. And, like, I kind of want more plants next year.
That's such a 2020 thing, and I love it. And I'm kind of with you. I don't own plants, but it could be fun. I kind of want to. I kind of want to get into that. I just don't even know where to start, so.
Yeah, I know. A lot of good TikTokers have made videos on how to, like, care for succulents, which has been helpful to me. And how to know when your plant is ready to water. I was never that kind of person, but honestly, it like just brightens up the space. It's so pretty.
Yes, and even though we can't be social, I really want to work on all the relationships I have, and I've really been happy this year with, well, it's been half and half. I think some people you get further away from during a pandemic, but the people who you do get close to, I feel like you almost appreciate them even more during this time. And I want to try to just be a good friend. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not a good friend now. I try. But I want to really be, like, mindful of, like, keeping my relationships going even when we can't see each other as much, if that makes sense. Because it's harder. You have to work at it more when you can't hang out. You have to be creative. Me and my friends found some creative ways to hang out this year. Just like your mom made creative holidays and stuff. And you can make your own fun while still being safe. And so that's been nice. That's been nice. I have some memories I'll never forget that we would have never done otherwise, Like, it's so easy to entertain yourself by going to a movie or going out to eat. But when you have to actually try at it, it's like, Yeah.
Yeah. I love the amount of creative events that have come out of this and, like, at-home parties and, I think that's really, really unique. I have gone to probably like 10 plus virtual live stream concerts, and I like on a normal year I would have never been able to go to as many shows. And like I feel like I've been able to support artists in that way, and also I've been buying a lot more physical music because like Spotify is not really great for artists. So that's been really cool. I've been growing my vinyl collection, as I know you also have growing your vinyl collection. I
love my vinyls. Yes,
but
definitely.
I think that ultimately I just kind of want to like ride the wave and see how things go and drink more water.
Yeah, I think you were going to say drink more wine. I was like, okay, but yeah, drink more water.
Hydrate or dihydrate.
Oh, that's good. No, that's a perfect goal. Just those little goals, you know, it doesn't have to be anything huge. Just, you know, the little things that you can actually hold yourself accountable for. But yeah, like I feel like that's pretty much all I have, unless you had more to say about your future goals. Well, yeah, okay. Well, I am excited to listen to this episode in like a year from now and see what's up. Maybe we can make another one of these. I hope we can. I hope next year we can make another one of these episodes and talk about all we did this year.
I hope that next year I get to say I definitely drink more water. But
yeah.
I hope everyone has a lovely new year. I hope everyone stays safe and stays home. And that you get to like do the little popper things that release confetti off your balcony, and that is like fun. Even
if you felt like 2020 was a complete wash and you didn't do anything, we have a new year coming, and it won't be perfect. You know, everyone's like, oh, 2021, that's the best year. No, we don't know that, so don't get your hopes up. But it is a new start, so you know, put this year behind you. If it was really negative for you, put it behind you. We can do it. We can start 2021 on a good foot. And maybe not have a big New Year's Eve party.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for making our 2020 special.
Yes, you're the best part of our 2020, everybody. So thank you. Bye.